Hi there. In today's video, I'm revisiting one of my old projects, which is this WordPress plugin that adds ChatGPT to your website. And what I can do with this plugin is I can ask questions about the content of the website. So for example, I can say, what is your phone number? And it is going to find me the answer from this website. And here's the phone number. Now, this phone number is located in the Contact Us page. So here we can see we have that exact phone number here. And we can also ask, for example, what is your office address? And it will find us the answer to this question as well. And here it is. Now, I created this project back when there was no function calling and no large context lengths. And that led to some design decisions in the code that made it pretty slow. Now, this actually is pretty fast right now, as you can see, and I think that is because the ChatGPT API has become faster. But I think that we can still make a lot of improvements to this. So how this works is that when you ask a question, it first sends a prompt to ChatGPT that shows the sitemap of the website, and then it asks, what page should I look for the answer to this question? And then we will fetch the content of that page and send it in another prompt to ChatGPT. And then ChatGPT will answer the question based on that. Now, if we don't find the answer in the first try, then we will try the next page and the next page and the next page. So this is where it gets kind of slow. So, for example, if I go to Home, and down here we have some sample testimonials. So, for example, here we have Willie Brown saying, this company created the most amazing website for my personal training business. So if we ask something like, what did Willie Brown say about your company? Then what will happen is it will take quite a long time for it to find the actual answer. So now it's searching through the website and finding the right page that has this information. But then finally we actually do get the answer. And that wasn't horrible actually. I remember it being much slower. But the problem here is that it tries to guess from this sitemap, so Home, About Us, Portfolio, News, Contact Us, on what page should we find the answer to this question. And it doesn't guess Home until later on. But recently, as you might know, ChatGPT released the GPT-4 with a 128K context window. So I think I could update this plugin to use that. And perhaps we can even send the whole content of the website directly in one prompt to ChatGPT and then let it answer the question. Now, we might not have to use the 128K, we might be able to use just the 16K version, which I think, what is the default now? It might be 16K, or is it even 32K now for ChatGPT? So let's jump into the code and let's see how we can improve this. So basically, we have a few classes here. So we have the chat endpoint class, which just creates this REST API endpoint to the WordPress website. And this is called send message. And when we post to this, we will call this parse request function, which is down here. So what this does is first it gets the message and the message history. Now, at the moment, I'm getting the message history with every request from the actual post request. So we should really save this message history to some database. And it doesn't actually persist over the changes of the page. So that's a problem as well, but this is just a quick demo. And basically, then we go into this loop. And we have this page lookup thingamajig. And we have this information lookup thingamajig. So what these are the following. So we have page lookup. So this is just a class that takes in a ChatGPT object. This is responsible for handling the message history and communicating with ChatGPT. And then we have a find page function that takes a question and then the pages to exclude. And it creates a sitemap of the website and excludes all of the excluded pages. And then it just creates this system message. Your job is to find a page on our website that would answer the question the user asks. And then we just put in the sitemap and then we explain how to answer. Because back then there were no function calling. So we wanted to answer with JSON. So we might update this to use function calling or the new JSON mode of the API. But let's see what kind of issues we will face. And basically, then we just return the response from ChatGPT. So what the original file here, the chat endpoint does, is it finds the page with that function, and then it extracts the page ID from that. And if for some reason it is null, meaning that the response was not JSON, then we just add that response as the response from the chatbot. And otherwise, we are going to use the information lookup to find the info from the specific page about the question. So basically, if we go to the definition of this one, so this is kind of similar to the page lookup. So we get the ChatGPT here, and then we just get the question and the page ID. And this just gets the content of the given page and strips the tags from it. And then it again creates a system message, and it passes in the content of the page. And then we either answer with not found, or we answer with the answer to the question. And then we are just going to loop this until we don't have a not found response, or if we do it over 4 times. So let's try to update this to use the GPT-4 or maybe the 16K version first. So how would we do that? Well, I think it is actually going to be a lot simpler. So basically, instead of getting the sitemap, we should make some kind of function that will get all of the contents of all of the pages and then pass those to ChatGPT directly in the prompt that we send it. So basically, we should do something like this. Site data equals this get site data. And we are going to implement this function. So this should return like every name of every page and all the content on every page. And then we should make some sort of prompt, which should be something like, you are an assistant on a website. Here's the website content. Answer questions about it as best as you can. And then we just put some new lines and maybe a couple of these and maybe a new line, and then just put in here the site data and then a new line and a couple of these, and that's it. So this will basically be the system message actually. And I guess we just then add messages to the conversation normally, and it will answer questions based on this knowledge. Let's see if that works. So what are we going to do? We are not going to use any of these information lookup things. We are just going to say this chat GPT, and what do we have here? I forgot already how I built this. This is not my latest version of the ChatGPT library that I have built. This is a just simpler version. So basically, we can set the system message and then we can send a message. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do set system message, and we will add our system message there. And then we are going to say that the response is going to be this ChatGPT send message. And we send the message that comes from here. So the user message. Okay. And that's basically it. So then we just have to create this get site data function. So let's do that. Where do we have the sitemap function? We have it in a page lookup. So let's actually copy this create sitemap and let's put it in the chat endpoint directly. And let's call this get site data. And I don't think we need to exclude anything. So let's remove that part of it. So basically this get pages is just a WordPress function that gets all the pages. And here we are creating this page list. But actually we just want to return a string from this. Although we might return array and then we can like JSON encode. Would that make sense? Maybe ChatGPT would understand that better. So if we say that the site data is an empty array, and then we add to the site data the ID and the name, and we also add the content. And we also had a function somewhere to get the content. It is in information lookup. So basically we strip the tags from the content. And the content is again just a built-in function in WordPress. So we can just do this. Strip tags get the content page ID. So it is going to be this. Now I might extract this into its own variable. Maybe it's a little bit neater like that. So content is that. And of course this has to be inside of the loop. Okay, so now we have this kind of array. So then we can just add it here as JSON encode. And maybe we should do like a JSON pretty print. Okay. Now currently we are using the GPT 3.5 Turbo. Now this site is not that big, so maybe this is even enough. So let's actually see what would happen now. So I'm now actually editing live this plugin. So if I refresh this page, it should be already refreshed. So if I now ask, what is your phone number? Then it will answer me, I'm sorry, but as an AI assistant, I don't have a phone number. I'm here to assist you with any questions you have about the website content. Okay, that's interesting. So maybe that is a problem with our system message. So let's actually print the system message somewhere. Let's just do error log and let's do system message. Or in fact, I'm going to do file put contents and I'm going to put it into system.text, the system message. So let's see if it actually got the site data. Did I do this correctly on the first try? So what is your phone number? Now, it thinks that I am referring to it, but I am, of course, referring to the company that owns the website. So maybe we just have to explain in the system message that that is what it should do. Okay, we have a bunch of new lines here. But yes, we have all the pages here now. We have the ID and the name and the content. So it should work. Do we have the actual phone number somewhere? So we should have the contact us. Contact us. Okay, here it is. So let's update our system message. When the user refers to you, they mean the company who owns the website. Answer questions as a company employee. Would that make sense? I'm not sure how to explain to it the situation. So let's refresh and let's see again. What is your phone number? Okay, our phone number is 509-728-8632. We are available Monday to Friday. So now it actually works. What is your email? Our email address is this. Okay, so it's actually working. So let's now try. If we say this, what did Willie Brown say? What did Willie Brown say about your company? Willie Brown said, this company created the most amazing website for my personal training business. And that was really fast. How about Sean Fisher? Sean Fisher said, I can recommend this company for everyone who wants a professional website. That's really cool. What is your office address? Our office address is this. So that actually works now. So end of video. Thanks for watching. Okay, maybe we can do something else. So what should we do? Now actually this worked with the basic model. And I'm not quite sure how many tokens we are using. But I feel like I would have tried something like this already in the previous version. And I feel like I did run into some issues with the context limit. Or maybe I just started to think about it too difficultly. So actually, let's open this system message. And this is 8,000 characters. So I think at the time I was making this, the limit was like 4,000 tokens. So let's do ChatGPT token calculator. We have this tokenizer here. So how many tokens is this? Now, of course, this is a very small website, so it's going to fit easily. Okay, so this is just 2,600 tokens. Now, I guess another limitation before was the price, and I guess it's cheaper now as well. And I guess we don't really have to pretty print because we are adding tokens because of that. And we might like remove these new lines. If there's like more than 2 new lines, we could remove them or something like this to save on the tokens. But hey, it works. So let's make actually the messages persist when we change the page, because now they disappear, because we have to send them in the post request every time. So let's save them somewhere. where should we save them? Let's remove this thing. And here we're getting the message history. But now we should get the message history from like the session. That's one place. Now that is always the easiest way. Just use the sessions of PHP. But then of course when you close the browser, everything disappears. So not the best thing. But we could just change this to be session, message history, or an empty array. And then we can add the message to the history somewhere. I'm not sure if we should do it here. We might add here like a boolean save history. And let's set it to true by default, or let's set it to false by default, since we might want to send a message without saving it to the history. So let's do if save history. Then we are going to say session chat history append the message. And I guess it should be in this format. So let's do that. So role is going to be user and the content is going to be the message. And of course we have to initialize. So if we don't have this, then we are going to set it to an empty array. And of course we have to save this as well, the system message. So in fact, let's move this down a bit. And in fact, we can just do it once here because we are already using this messages array that includes the message history. So we can say here, if we want to save the history, then we just set the chat history to the messages. So then we don't even have to do this anymore. So that's a lot easier. So now we should load the chat history from there. So do we have to do anything else? We have to, of course, pass now here, save history. So just say true. So now if we refresh and we go here and I say hello, then it should say, hello, how can I assist you? If I go to About Us, which I was already, if I go to Home and I go here, then I don't have the messages here. So I have to, of course, print the messages automatically from the message history. So in our plugin.php, we have the render chat box. And here we are only setting the first message. So here we should do something like this and say messages equals session chat history or an empty array. And for each of the messages as message, we are going to print the message. And here we have the role. So let's echo the role here. So message role, and here let's echo the message. So the content. And of course we have to HTML special characters, or actually we are in WordPress, so we can use esc HTML. And I guess we could use like esc attr here in the role. Of course we set the role, so it shouldn't really matter. But now we should be loading them from the session. So let's refresh and let's go here, and we have nothing there. Why? I call it a message history. So let's refresh and open this. I did not call it message history. What did I call it? I did call it message history, but we are not saving it. And I think the problem is that we are not opening up a session. So let's go to chat endpoint, and here let's do if not session status equals session, what is it called? Session, PHP session active. If we don't have a session, then we are going to do session start. So now if I refresh and I go here and I say hello and I get a message back and I go to About Us, then actually we are going to get the system message here as well, because we are going to save that in the message history. And of course, this should be if it is not active or if it is none. PHP session none. So if we don't have a session, then we should start the session. So let's say hello, and we get the answer back. And if we go to home and we open it, then it still doesn't work for some reason. And we probably have to do the same thing in our actual plugin. So let's put it in the plugin directly. So in the constructor, let's add this. Now hopefully this is going to be loaded everywhere we need it to be loaded. So let's open this and say hello, and let's refresh and open it again. And why on earth does it not work? Okay, I went on a stupid tangent there for a while. So what I of course have to do is I have to call both of these session keys message history. So I was calling one of them chat history and one of them message history. And I actually moved the session status check into the plugin class. And I also had an exclamation point here. So it of course didn't work because we were checking if not session status equals PHP session none, which is never true. So of course we have to do this. And now it works, as you can see from my message box here, but we have now the system message in here as well. So of course we don't want to save that. So let's remove that from the session. Now, we can either remove it from the session or we can remove it from the UI. Now, in this case, I think we want to remove it from the session. So we could just do something like array filter, and we are going to filter the messages with the following callback function, which is going to be message, and we are going to return message role is not system. Now, I guess we should really do in array and say the role needs to be in the array of user and assistant. So this should now effectively remove the system message from here, which might not be the most efficient way of doing this, but it should do it. Of course, now it's still there because it is in our session. So let's destroy our session and let's remove our PHP session ID. So if we now refresh and we go here, we have nothing. And if we say hello, then we are going to get an answer. And if we refresh and we go back here, then we have our message, but we don't have the answer. And that is because we are not saving the answer there. So we have to actually say that the response is going to be this, and we have to do messages append the assistant message. So it should be role assistant and content is going to be the response. And then of course we have to move this one down here. Now I guess the system message will be always the first one. So we can do something like if messages index 0 role equals system, then we could just remove that, unset this one. And then we can just save the messages array directly here. Now, of course, we're not going to filter out other kinds of messages that we don't want, but we don't have something like that right now. So that, I think, is a more performant way, although in this case, what is the performance difference? Like, it is instantaneous, whatever we do. So whatever, let's do like this. And of course, we have to return still the response. So let's see if that works. I'm going to again go to application and I will destroy my PHP session ID and I will say hello and I get an answer. And if I refresh and I go here, we still have the system message. Sorry, I am destroying the role. I have to destroy the whole thing. One more time. I don't know what is going on with me today. I'm doing everything incorrectly. Okay, and let's say hello and let's refresh and open it. And now it's there. So now we can persist even when we change the pages. So that's pretty cool. So now I can say, what is your phone number? And I will get the answer, which is our phone number is 509 and so on. We're available from Monday to Friday. How can I assist you further? Okay, that's pretty cool. Can you give me some testimonials from your customers? Let's see if it understands that those are testimonials. Yes, these are the testimonials. That's pretty cool. Now we should have some sort of formatting here in this chat box. Now it's just plain text. But yeah, we have testimonials. Now it would be nice if I had a larger website so I could actually test if it works on a bigger website. Let me know in the comments if you try this on your website and if it works or not. Now, another cool feature would be that we could use the new Assistants API of OpenAI to do this. And we could like save all of the pages as files for the assistant, or maybe just one file. I don't know what is the best way. But then OpenAI could handle the searching from the pages to find the information. So then they could use like embeddings and everything like this, and we would just use the API. So that's probably something I will do in a future video, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see that. But let's format these messages now a bit nicer. So in our plugin, let's add here HTML and then add newline to break. So this should actually make it a little bit better. But then of course, when we are adding these messages, how are we doing that? I'm guessing I added some sort of script here. We have some script. Why did I not use HTMX? Look at this code. This is 63 lines of code, but with HTMX I could have done it with no JavaScript. Anyway, we have to here add the line breaks. So how do we do that in JavaScript? Can I actually have a function inside of this template string? So can I say NL to BR and then do this? Now, of course, we don't have this in JavaScript. So let's create a function NL to BR, and this is the text, and it is going to return text.replace, and we are going to replace a new line globally with a break. Maybe that works. Let's refresh and let's open this. And here we have now line breaks. And if we ask something more, what are all the ways to contact you? I'm not sure what to ask to make multi-line things, but that is actually the way. And now it is actually formatted like this again. Okay, there are several ways to contact us. Call us at this number. You can send us an email. If you prefer to visit us in person, our offices are located at this address. You can also send us a message directly through the website. Okay, that's a pretty good assistant actually. So what else should we add to this? Let's add a settings menu to the WordPress admin area for this. So maybe we can select like the model we want to use from here. So let's do that. Now, I don't really remember how to do this, but let's go to our plugin.php, and here we are initializing all kinds of things. So we are initializing the chat endpoint. So could we add like a settings page init and just do that? And can we create a new class here called settingspage.php? And here we can make a public static function init, and this will do something. It's something like register settings page. Register setting. That is not it. Let's ask ChatGPT. How do I create my own settings page for a WordPress plugin? All right. So we have to create a function that prints out the settings page, and then we have to actually use register setting to register those settings. Okay, add settings section. Okay, add settings field, admin init, my plugin settings, my plugin menu. Okay, was it this complicated? So basically we want to have this. So let's make like a public function render, and this is going to do exactly this. And let's call this WP-GPT settings. Okay, so we are posting the options of PHP, and then we can like set some my plugin settings. Okay, so let's actually make this like a constant. Let's say self settings slug, and let's add here const settings slug is going to be WP-GPT settings. And we have to do my plugin settings. Where are we calling this one? So first of all, we have to do this in admin init. So we have to add action admin init. And I think we can just pass in a function in here, just an anonymous function. And then here we are going to do all of this stuff. So what is all of this stuff? My plugin settings. This I will replace with self settings slug and my plugin option. So let's do options slug. And this will be WP-GPT option or options. I'm not quite sure what this means. I think this is the key in the database for the option. So self options slug. And then we have a section and we have a field. Okay. So we add the field into that section. I'm not sure if I have done this before. So I have before just called a render function from some sort of register page or something. But let's see if this actually works. So basically my plugin section, so this could be like WP-GPT general settings, and we're going to call them general settings. And then we are going to add to the general settings a setting. So this is going to be WP-GPT model. So this is going to be the model. And can we set like a type here? We have some args. So maybe we can set here in the args like a type of select box. So then we can have like a select box for the model. Let's see. And we have a callback. I'm not sure if we have to create these. Here's an optional section description. My plugin field callback. Oh, well, that is stupid. I have to create the callback. No, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm just going to do this. Add menu page. I think this is all I want. So when we initialize the admin, we are going to add a menu page. And this is going to take the function to be called to output the content for this page. Great. So first we have page title. So this is going to be WP-GPT settings. That's the title. And then we have the menu title. Okay. And then we are going to have capability. So what capability the user has to have, and manage options, I guess, is for like an admin. Okay, that's good. And then we have the menu slug. So let's call this WP-GPT. Well, we have the slug here. So let's just call this settings like this. And let's then set the function that we're going to call. So this is going to be like an array, this and render. So then we can use this render function. And of course we can't do it because we are in a static function. So let's just make this a public function construct. And then we can just do here new settings page. Maybe that is not the best thing to do. And let's import this. And actually we have to set the namespace. So let's set the namespace here. So then we don't have to use it. Okay. And now when we go to the settings page, it should render this settings page. And we are not going to do it this way. We are just going to put our own HTML here. So we can actually post the options.php and we can use this version. So let's copy that and let's put it here. And we just have to basically set the option name. Okay. So we are going to have here like model and then a select name WP-GPT model. And then we can have here option value is GPT 3.5 turbo. And this is going to be GPT 3.5 turbo. And then we can add like a 16K here. And we can add GPT-4 here. And we could add all the other ones, but I will just do this for now. And of course we have to like select these. So echo model equals this, then selected, otherwise nothing. And let's say that the model is going to be get option. And this is going to be WP-GPT model. And let's do the same thing here. And this looks kind of ugly, so maybe we could do something like models is an array. And here we are going to have GPT 3.5 turbo and 16K. And we are going to also have GPT-4. And then we can do here like this. And we can say for each of the models as model name, let's call it because we have the model here, or let's call this selected or current model. Then we can call this model. And we can then say echo option value, and the value is going to be the model, and the text will be model, and let's add here like a selected. And I guess technically we don't need the value if the value is the same as the model, so we could remove that. And then we might say that selected is going to be, why is my indentation weird? Selected is model equals current model, then selected, otherwise nothing. Okay, so now this should work. And then of course we should get the model this way. So when we are calling GPT 3.5 in here, we should call get option. So this should be in fact this way. But of course we are not going to have it by default, so we should have some sort of function to get it. What is the context we are in right now? This is just in ChatGPT. So let's just say this model, and let's just make a public string model is GPT 3.5 Turbo. So then we can change the model if we want. And then when we say new ChatGPT, then we are going to set the model. ChatGPT model equals get option WP-GPT model. And then we can add, I guess we can do this and add the default GPT 3.5 Turbo. So now we use the model if we have one, and otherwise we will use the 3.5 Turbo. So let's see if this actually works. So if we refresh this page, then we have WP-GPT settings, and if we open it, we don't have access to this page. So why not? Let's go to settings page. So we have the capability manage options. Did I put in the right place? It's the third one. Yes. So you are not allowed to access this page. Do I have to register it somehow? Or is this not in admin init? Maybe it's not there. Maybe I have to just put it here and refresh. Now there's a critical error, okay? So let's ask ChatGPT what to do. So we are adding admin menu. So this has to be in admin menu action. Let's see if that will fix the problem. And now we have a settings page where we can select the different model, but we can't save it. So there was some like a submit button, right? That we can render. Can we do it here? Submit button. Is it like this? Okay. If we just do this and we refresh, then now we have save changes here. So if we select 16K and we save it, then we post to options, okay? So we saved it, but we posted to options. Is there some sort of way to return back? But let's see, let's go back and let's refresh. It didn't actually change it. Let's try this again, and let's see if we have here WP-GPT. We don't have it. So we might have to register that setting. So let's try to do that. Register setting. So this has to be in add action, admin init, and we have a function that will register the setting, which will be WP-GPT settings, and WP-GPT settings is the option as well. Can I have the same thing there? Or did I call this, oh, sorry. How does this actually work? If we go here and we check this form field, then shouldn't it just save everything? Wait a minute. Maybe I have to post some sort of nonce token. So let's just make the action empty and let's handle it ourselves. Since we are programmers, in fact, so we can actually do this. So we can say the following. Let's create a public function handle saving, and we're going to say if is admin and current user can manage options. We are going to say set option, update option, and the option is going to be WP-GPT settings, and the value is going to be JSON encode. Actually, I can probably pass in like an array here. Can't I? I'm pretty sure. So I can say model is going to be post WP GPT model. And in our constructor, I can just say this handle saving. So now we can save the options. And of course, we have to check if we actually are posting to it. So if we have this, if is set this, and let's move this up here. If it is not admin or the current user cannot do that, then return false. But if we have this, then we're going to update it. So let's do it this way, because I am not sure how to do this properly. But we have an error. And what is the error? Call to undefined function WP get current user. Okay, so I am doing this in the wrong place. This has to be add action init probably, and then function. So when we actually have initialized WordPress, and actually we can just do an array this handle saving. And let's refresh. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we can select GPT 3.5 Turbo and we can save the changes. And they are not saved because, of course, it is now JSON. So if we now go to options.php and I search for WP GPT, then we have serialized data. Oh, it's actually serialized, it's not JSON. So we can say that the settings equals unserialize this one. Or will this automatically unserialize it? It might actually do it. So maybe we can just say that the settings is that, and then we are going to say that the current model is settings model, right? I save it here as model. Okay, let's try again. Refresh, and it's not working. Do we need to do something? Do we get any errors? No errors, which is interesting. So let's just do print our settings and let's refresh. There's nothing in there. Sorry, this is not WP-GPT model. This is WP-GPT settings and refresh. Okay, that works. So now we're actually selecting it. So let's remove this print R. And now it works. Now we can pick GPT-4 and we can save the changes. And they were saved. So now if we use the chat, it is going to use GPT-4. And we still have this message history. I should probably have some sort of way to remove the message history. Although I'm not sure if that is something that you should have in the UI for the customer. But let's now do this manually. So let's remove the PHP session ID and let's refresh. And now we're using GPT-4. Now how can we verify this? We can't really verify it from how it works, but I guess we can check here. So we can just do error log, which I'm already logging some errors that are not really errors. So let's just log this model. So let's say that the model is this. And let's see what model we are using. So if I say hello, then we get a message back, and the model we are using is GPT 3.5 Turbo. Because I, of course, have to get the model the right way. Because, again, we are using the serialized data here. So this is the way to get the actual model. So let's do the same thing in our plugin. So let's actually do something like this. Let's say this get setting model. Could we do that? Do we have a reference here to the plugin? We don't. But we could do like this settings model. And then we could pass in the settings here in the constructor. So let's say array settings and actually protected array settings. So then we have to pass it in here. So then we can do here settings, or just this settings. This get settings. Or let's do this. Let's say that this is settings, and here settings equals this get settings, and this is just this settings model. Or not this settings, just settings. So then we might have a protected function, or maybe it can be public function get settings, and this is going to get the settings. So we are going to return get option WP GPT settings. Is that really it? So do we really need a function for this? So we get the model from the settings, or we are going to get just GPT 3.5 Turbo. Hopefully this works. Let's see. So if we first of all refresh this page, we still have GPT-4. And if we refresh this page and we say, what is your phone number? Then it is going to answer with the phone number. And if we go here, then in fact we were using GPT-4 now. Okay. And of course, if we go here and say GPT 3.5 Turbo, it doesn't save it anymore for some reason. Oh, it saved it, but then I have to refresh for it to update it here. So I am probably loading the settings before we are saving the settings. So I am going to just call the get option directly here. Let's do that. And that is the settings. And we're not going to pass them here because we need to load them again. So let's go in here and not have settings and just directly do settings, and settings equals that. Now, there for sure is a better way of doing this, but let's do it like this for now. So now if we select 16K, it is updated automatically. And if we go here and I say, what is your email? It is going to answer me. Our email is this. And if I then go to my logs, then here we have GPT 3.5 Turbo 16K. Okay, so now it works. And we have a real settings page that hopefully is not vulnerable to anything because I did it not the proper way. Now, of course, we could add more settings here, like for the system message. Maybe we want to add some more information about how to answer the questions. But for today's video, I am not going to do that. Let me know what I should add to this plugin, and let me know if you tried it and if it works. And also let me know if it doesn't work, and then I can fix it. But anyway, this is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will leave a link in the description for where you can find this plugin and try it out yourself. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of videos, and click like on this video, and I will see you in the next one.